Right now at noon, a debate over the minimum wage in both Missouri and Kansas.
Our first round of shower storms moving on out of here. We are very windy as winds continue to increase across the area and more storms on the way. The latest coming up.
Plus, the Children's Miracle Network names a pair of local brothers as their 2025 champions.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. Potentially damaging wind gusts and strong storms are making their way through the 4 states. Let's go straight to Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've actually started to see some reports of some power outages across the area due to these damaging wind gusts. So they're going to continue to increase. Now, the first portion of the day, they were gusty, but not that bad. But now that first line of showers and storms is through, they're going to continue to increase. Of course, that's a quick look. MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. A reminder, red flag warnings across the area today. No outdoor burning. And, of course, goes without saying at this point, high wind warnings across the area as well, with these gusts reaching 60 miles an hour and isolated gusts 70 miles an hour or even a little higher. Remember, severe thunderstorm warning criteria puts the wind gusts at 58 miles an hour. That's what qualifies as a severe thunderstorm warning, and that's where we're sitting with just the wind gusts from the day. So here's what's left of that first line. Now, it flared up pretty quickly. We take a look at the loop. Look at how fast. I mean, it went from one little cell near Tulsa and just blossomed into this line, but now it's already beginning to fade. What we're going to be keeping an eye on is this plume of cloud cover that's filling in from around Oklahoma City up to the south and west of Wichita. That's where round 2 could come into play with additional shower and thunderstorm chances in the next about 2.5 or 3 hours, which we will break down for you in just a moment. And yesterday, take a look, pretty close, degree shy of at least tying the record back in 2012. That's how warm we've been and where we are supposed to be. And that's what I was talking about. Our lows have been close to what our average highs should be here lately. Now, this weekend, that will change, and we'll talk about that in a moment as well. 79 in Joplin right now. Skies have cleared out, and it's 77 in Pittsburgh. That's the other thing. Skies cleared out very quickly, and these temperatures are going up very quickly across the area as well. And then when we talk about the potential for those wind gusts out there, so here's what we're looking at so far. Winds already sustained. This isn't the gust. Sustained south at 36 miles an hour in Joplin. And that's just in Joplin. So that's what we're talking about. And these winds will continue to increase as we head through the rest of the afternoon. Now, we'll get the second round of storms through here between 3 and 6. It's gone. We'll have partly cloudy skies, and the gusty winds will continue overnight tonight. We'll have more on your full forecast and break down the next round of storms here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, the city of Miami, Oklahoma got a virtual visit this morning from representatives of Oklahoma U.S. Senator Markwayne Mullin. The Miami City Council held a special meeting to discuss potential opportunities for the senator and his office to assist the city with ongoing flooding issues. Now, the meeting follows years of flooding in Miami, an issue that the city attributes to the Grand River Dam Authorities and its Pensacola project. Now, today, the senator's office heard concerns from the city council and discussed next steps to resolve the flooding issues in Miami. And this comes as the city won a long battle against the GRDA in January.
That's why I think it's important for us to sit down in the room and everybody put their cards on the table and let's just figure this out. It's important for the people. You know, the people I serve are the same people that Senator Mullin serves. And then GRDA serves those same people power. So those people are the important piece here.
The city of Miami is also in a civil lawsuit along with 456 local property owners seeking compensation from the GRDA. Well, debates are underway concerning the minimum wage on both sides of the Missouri-Kansas state line. And the Missouri Supreme Court heard arguments this week for a legal challenge that would overturn a recently passed proposition. In November, Missouri voters passed Proposition A, which raised Missouri minimum wage to $13.75 in January and guaranteed sick leave for hundreds of thousands of workers. Now, several business groups, including the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, filed a legal challenge. Now, their primary argument is sick leave and minimum wage are separate issues that violate the single subject rule for amendments and propositions. Now, those against this legal challenge say Prop A was supported by voters at the ballot box.
We always say let business decide. Workplace policy decisions are really left between an employer and an employee and should not be mandated by the government.
The free market does not mean free of rules. It is we all decide what the rules are and then we compete freely within that market. And so if the minimum wage goes up, those are the rules.
The Missouri Supreme Court is expected to release a ruling within the next month. Now, in the meantime, state lawmakers introduced a bill that would overturn the sick leave provisions and modify the minimum wage provisions. Well, as the fate of Missouri's minimum wage is left to the state Supreme Court, Kansas lawmakers are working to raise theirs. Now, currently, minimum wage in Kansas is $7.25 an hour. State House legislators introduced a bill proposing to raise minimum wage to $15. A similar bill in the Senate would raise minimum wage to $15 with further increases each year to be based off the cost of living. Now, both bills were referred to committee. And Children's Miracle Network hospitals raise funds to give assistance to children with medical needs. Freeman Health System in Joplin announced their 2025 Children's Miracle Network champions. Now, it's two brothers named Rusk and Sutter. Rusk was diagnosed with Down syndrome at birth, causing vision delays and other obstacles. Just 2 years later, the family flew to Serbia to adopt another son with Down syndrome named Sutter. The brothers will serve as the face of children treated at the hospital and raise awareness about the ongoing need for donations to support the Children's Hospital.
Open our hearts to the opportunities to be able to love children, and that every kid needs an advocate, right? And so it began us on a journey to be able to adopt another child with Down syndrome.
Now, to receive assistance, families can reach out to the Family Relations Coordinator at Children's Miracle Network. Receiving help is need-based, not income-based. And coming up, concerns continue to grow as the Trump administration is threatening even more tariffs. And later, we're making lemon chess pie in the Mr. Food test kitchen. Well, a brief standoff in Joplin ends with the arrest of a Kansas man wanted for attempted murder. Now, responding to a call about a fugitive, Joplin SWAT got to the Home 2 Suites Hotel on Rangeline shortly after 11 Thursday morning. Now, officers determined the suspect, Joshua Ferguson of Cherokee County, Kansas, was inside one of the rooms. After police first couldn't convince him to come out on his own, Joplin SWAT took him into custody. Ferguson is now in the Jasper County Jail awaiting extradition to Cherokee County. Ferguson has been on the run since 2023 for allegedly trying to kill a family member by shooting at them several times. The victim was unharmed. Now, Ferguson was arrested in Webb City in 2023 and made bond, but then violated conditions leading to a warrant. Now, he'd been on the run since until yesterday. And the Trump administration is threatening more tariffs, even as concerns grow that the trade wars will lead to an economic slowdown. Tareen Small reports.
Wall Street opened higher Friday following a rough day Thursday when the S&P fell to its first correction since 2023 amid uncertainty over President Trump's trade policy. The president has downplayed the recent volatility.
There'll be a little disruption, but it won't be very long.
In an interview with Fox Business, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick signaled that the U.S. tariff schedule for next month could target cars beyond ones from Canada, Mexico, and the European Union.
We buy so many cars from Japan, from Korea, from Germany, right? I know we make cars in Canada and Mexico, but it's time to bring that back home.
As for the president's threat of a 200% retaliatory tariff on alcohol from Europe if the EU doesn't remove the one on American whiskey, wine sellers are finding it hard to swallow.
I think it's going to be catastrophic.
The trade moves come as the White House suffered a setback in another area, its efforts to shrink the size of the federal government. A federal judge in Maryland ordered the Trump administration to reinstate thousands of probationary federal workers who were recently fired. A federal judge in San Francisco also issued a similar order. And with the midnight deadline approaching to avoid a government shutdown, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer switched course and announced he will vote for the Republican stopgap measure.
While the CR bill is very bad, the potential for a shutdown has consequences for America that are much, much worse.
It's not clear how many Senate Democrats will join Schumer in voting yes. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
Well, still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Today is Pie Day, so we've decided to make a pie that adds up to lots of U's and I's.
And we've still got another round of storms we have to keep an eye on. The winds are going to continue to increase, and then this weekend it's cooler. Details when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. Just taking a look at our downtown Pittsburgh camera. The winds really ramping up, and you can see this thing just shaking around down there. Wind gusts are already starting to reach the 50-mile-an-hour mark across the region, and they are not done increasing yet. So that's something we've got to watch. So here's that first round of showers and storms. And again, it flared up fast, didn't become severe, did produce some small hail down south, but it is already on its way out. And you see there's that sharp cutoff where the skies cleared very quickly behind it and temperatures began to raise. Now, here's what we're looking at. We've got the dry line. We have this cloud cover. Round 2 is expected to develop out in this region. The question is, how fast will it develop and how intense can it get before, as you saw how fast this moved out, before it's out of here? That's what we've got to monitor, and we're going to talk about that here in a moment. A reminder, high wind warnings across the entire region, most of today, some of them into tomorrow morning, and of course the red flag warning. So please, absolutely no outdoor burning, because our other concern, and we got lucky this first round, but with the second round of storms is the chance for what they call dry thunderstorms. So even though, for example, down in the Tulsa coverage area here, the one thunderstorm looked like it had really heavy rain with it. It measured about maybe 1/10 of an inch. They're moving too fast and it's too dry, so the problem becomes lightning striking a field and potentially starting a fire that way because of how dry it still is at the surface. So we have Mother Nature's got her own way to cause some problems. Do not help her. No burning, no throwing cigarettes out. Just make sure everything is secure on your vehicle because it doesn't need any assistance. Now, some changes were made, not significant ones, but we do have that low tornado threat. It's been backed up a little to the south and west. We have a low to now elevated hail risk with significant hail possible at our far northeastern corners of our area. The wind risk, no major change here. The elevated risk did get backed up a little further to the southwest. And this is thunderstorm wind gusts, by the way, that could reach 75 to 80 miles an hour. That's not including our regular wind gusts, but our regular wind gusts are still looking to make anywhere from 60 with isolated gusts to 70 possible. So here's what we want to look at. Here's 3 o'clock. Here's that dry line. Here's that next round of storms. How quickly can it flare up? Well, we saw this morning that one line, elevated storms, they flared up in a hurry and they moved out of here in a hurry. These will have a better chance to become strong, potentially severe. Again, it's just a matter of how fast. But if you watch this is starting about 3 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, it's done. It's out of here. It's over. Now, the wind isn't. It's still going to be very breezy, but the storms themselves will be gone. So here we go by 4. Showers, storms, in between or right along the 69-49 corridor. And then by 6 o'clock, it's already gone. Now we have southwest winds still gusting upwards of 60, potentially 70 miles an hour. So we'll have to monitor those storms as we head through the afternoon hours and just see exactly how well they get organized and how soon they get organized, because some of those storms we saw did develop a little earlier and a little further west than was originally anticipated. Now, again, they didn't become severe. They didn't really have that opportunity. But round 2 possibly could. Of course, we'll be monitoring them. And, of course, Doug Heddy will be here through the afternoon and evening hours, keeping an eye on them as well. The rest of today, again, upper 70s. Temperatures will gradually start to fall slowly. And, of course, we'll have those very gusty winds out there. Now, tonight, skies will gradually clear. Temperatures back down to about 50. And those southwest winds still gusting 45 to 50 miles an hour. But they'll begin to ease up late tonight into tomorrow. West winds still gusty, but pushing 25 instead of 65, which is much better, and temperatures cooler but much more seasonable, upper 50s, low 60s. Same for us on Sunday, just less breezy. Could start to get a little breezy again Monday and Tuesday, much warmer Monday and Tuesday. We'll drop a little below normal Wednesday, and then the warm weather will return again. But again, we got to watch that second round of storms, and that aside, these winds are going to be potentially damaging. We're already seeing power outages because of that.
Yes, we are. All right, Chris, thanks. Well, stick around. We're making lemon chess pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Howard is making lemon chess pie in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
It's March 14th, a day that some call Pi Day. Now, when I say pi, I'm talking about pi as in the kind you may remember back in math class. You know, pi equals 3.14, which is part of a mathematical equation to figure out the circumference of a circle. And as you've probably noticed from watching us over the years, here in the test kitchen, we love to celebrate just about anything. So in celebration of this pie, what do you say we make a lemony pie that adds up to lots of tasty goodness? All we have to do is combine some sugar with a few eggs, a bit of melted butter, a splash of milk, a couple of tablespoons of yellow cornmeal, some freshly squeezed lemon juice, a little flour, and a bit of grated lemon zest. We beat this together and pour it into a deep dish pie plate that we've already lined with a homemade or refrigerated pie crust. Now all we have to do is pop this into the oven until it sets and the top begins to get golden. That's it. Once it cools, you can serve it as is, or how about finishing it off with a bit of whipped cream to make it doubly delicious? So here's your homework assignment. Go online and get the recipe for our lemon chess pie so you can whip up a pie where the sum of the ingredients adds up to something that's downright awesome. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a lemony way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe on KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, reminder, high wind warnings and red flag warnings continue across the area today. Those winds continuing to increase in those gusts. They'll be pushing 60 miles an hour, isolated gusts to 70 possible. And then we have that second round of thunderstorms around 3 o'clock today that could become strong, possibly severe as it races off to the east. Tomorrow, still breezy, but the gusts down to 25. Temperatures cool, but seasonably so, and then we'll be back into the 70s by Monday.
All right, Chris, thanks. And coming up tonight at 5, well, how often do you actually get a full 8 hours of sleep? A new survey shows most Americans are missing out on their shut-eye. On this World Sleep Day, we'll share some tips for getting more rest. Plus, local organizations in Joplin come together to celebrate a collaborative event, and an economic boost could be on the way to Pittsburgh. You can join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your day.